Hello viewers, welcome back. So in our last video we have learned that how can we build this type functionality using JavaScript, but now in this video we will learn how can we actually validate our login form, registration form, also forgot password, reset password form. For example, if I try to log in without email address, then it's showing that the password email field is empty. We need to fill something. Let's try to fill without a valid email. Then it's showing that this is not a valid email. Okay, let's try to validate this. So now the red border and the error message is gone. Also now it is trying to validate the password field. Write something here, try to validate the password length. Also it is try to validate the password should contain alphabetic, numeric and special character. Similarly, for the registration field, it will validate the name, email address, password and confirm password. Also it will validate the forgot password field. So in this video we will learn how can we validate this form, and also I will provide you the complete source code so that you can download and change the validation rules if you want. Okay, so let's start. So this is our last file and this is not validating it, so we will work on this file. Okay, let's add this validation.js script src validation.js. Okay, so like our previous JavaScript, we will create a separate function for every functionality. That means to avoid the repeating task, we will create a function. For example, in this program we need to validate email address multiple times for login, for registration, also for forgot password. So we will create a function that will take our email address and will return is it valid or not, so that we can use this function for login, registration, forgot password. Similarly, for the password we will create a function so that we can use here also the reset password. So okay, let's check that when we try to log in, click on this, is it submitting the form or not. Okay, let's try to login.php for testing purpose. This is our login form. Yes, login button. This is our login form. So let's try to log in. Yes, it's submitting the form for to the login.php. So now with that validation, it is submitting the form. So our idea is when user try to log in, or when user click on the login button, then we will return true or false from the JavaScript side. If it is return the false, then we will not submit in the form. If it return true, then we will submit the form. So how can we actually do this? So to do this, we will use a on-click action here and return validate login from function. Okay, if this function return true, then our form will submit, and if this function return false, then our form will not submit, and we will return true or false based on our validation rules. And also this form is suggested because in Sublime Text our final version is also here. That's why from the final version it's suggesting me that use this function. Okay, so let's create this function in our validation.js. Function validate login from, let's try to return false for testing purpose. Now try to log in. Okay, when we click the login button, it's not submitting the form, but if we return true after the click, it submitting the form. So our function is worked properly. Now we just need to return true or false based on our validation rule. So first of all, we will validate our email address. So let's catch this email input box using ID. So ID is login email. Close this. Our login email. Document.getElement by ID. This is ID value. Okay. So this is our email, and we will check like this. Login email is equal empty. Then we will, let's try to alert in the field. Okay, so let's try to log in. Yes, it's working. Okay, also it's submitting the form, so we need to return false from here, and after the if condition we need to return true, so that if it is valid, then we will return true. Okay, so let's try to log in again. Now this showing this please fill the field and not submitting the form. Okay, so let's check our final version. When we try to log in without anything, it's add a red border to our input box and also show an error message under the input box. So how can we do that? So let's check our style.css. Here a class is already designed error input, and this class is responsible for red border 1 pixel solid. This is the red color, and this is the error message with font size is 11, font weight bold. That means this is the p tag, this tag designed with this color, with this class. So for example, if I go here and add this class is error input, refresh. Okay, so when we add this class, our input box show with the red border. Okay, and just after the input box, let's add a p tag. This is an error message, refresh. This is an error message. Let's add this class, refresh. Yes, so our target is when user try to log in or click on the login, then if our email address is empty or email not valid, then we will add a class to our email box or email input box, and after the email box or after the input box, we will add a p tag using JavaScript with the error message class. Okay, so let's remove this also, refresh. Okay, so instead of showing this like this, let's catch our var document.getElement by ID. This is the ID, and we will add a class list. Add class will be error input for red border. So let's try to log in. Please fill the field, and the border is showing. Okay, now we need to add a p tag. So let's create a error input element, error message element. Okay, bar error message element is document dot create element. We will create a p tag, and this error element will contain a class. Class will be error message, and we will add this input. We will add this p tag under the input box. Also, this element inner HTML should be a message, this message. So let's remove this, get the parent of the input box, parent node, insert before. We will insert this element as next sibling of this element. Okay, so let's try to log in with that email address. Okay, it's working, showing the red border, also showing the error message right after the input box. So now we need to show this type message for email, password, name, confirm email, everywhere. So let's create a function for showing error message. Okay, so the function name will be, I think, function name would be show error message. Okay, function show error message. Let's copy from show error message. So this function will take our input box ID and the message. Okay, so input box ID and message, and from this ID we will take input box document dot get element by ID. ID is this variable, and let's copy everything from here. This input box will contain a class error input. Then we will create a error message element. Then from this input box, parent node and input box next sibling, we will add this element. So this function will add error message, and we will call this function every time when you need. So let's add here, and this ID will be our input box ID, this ID, and message is please fill the. Okay, let's refresh and try to log in with the email address again. Yes, it's working. Okay, so it is showing error message. We create a function. Now this time we will create a function to validate our email address. Let's create a function here. Function is valid email. This function will take email and will return a message like this will return this message if our email, this email is empty, then we will return this message. Otherwise we will return valid. So just we need to call this function from here. This is our email. We will pass this. Let's comment this, and so this function will return a string which will be valid or a error message. So let's var email validation message. Let's catch the message and check if email validation message not equal valid, that means this email is not valid, and this email this in this variable we have a error message. So now we will call this function from here with the ID and the message. Okay, let's remove everything from here. Also make sure return false from here, and at the very end return true, so that if everything works properly, then we need to submit our form. Let's refresh, try to log in again. Okay, it's working properly. So now we need to validate is our email valid format or not. Okay, before validating, let's try to enter something here and try to log in. Yes, now this time it returned valid because email was not empty. That's why it returned true and our form submitted. So now check, we will check is email in valid format or not. To do this, we will use regular expression. So let's copy regular expression. I will share you the source code, so don't worry about this. This is the regular expression which will check is email valid or not. Based on this regular expression, we will check if this regular expression to test our email equal false, then we will return that this is not a valid email. Okay, let's refresh and try to log in. Yes, this is the input, empty input. So let's try to enter something here. Okay, it's okay, we need to please fill the field again. So the error is, I think okay, we need to add this message, not the static message. Okay, so that when we pass something dynamically, then this message will show. So let's try to log in again. Yes, it's now empty, that's why I said that please fill the field. Now try something here, click on the login. Okay, now it's showing that this is not a valid email address. So our system is working properly, but we see that it is not empty now, but it also showing that please fill the field. That means before showing any error message, we need to remove our previous message. So let's create a function to removing the previous message, because we need to this functionality every time for our all the input box. So let's create a function for remove all error messages. Function all error messages. This function will take nothing. It will catch input box with this class and p element with this class, then it will remove everything. So var all error field document dot get element by class name. Error field is this class. Var all error message, this will be document dot get element by class name. This will be this class. So under inside this variable we will have all the p tag, and inside this variable we have all the input box with these classes. Okay, so let's try to loop on this variable and remove var I for I equal, let's dot length -1. We will loop from the bottom side, so greater than equal 0 I minus minus. Okay, so from this input box class list we need to remove our red border class. What is this class? Also let's copy everything. We need to this length, from this we need to remove that complete element. Okay, let's try to use this function at the very beginning of our validation function, because when for every time we try to log in or every time we try to submit, then we will remove the all error message first, then we will validating our input field and also showing our error message. So let's try to log in again. Yes, it's showing that our input box is empty. Please fill the field. Let's try something here. Now try to log in. Okay, this time it's showing that this is not a valid email. That means our previous message removed successfully and new message is showing now. Okay, so now our email validation is complete. We will now create a function for our password validation. So let's create a function for password validation. Function is valid password. This will take our password, so var the id is login password, document dot get element by id, this is our password id, value var password validation message. So this variable will, let's write after the email validation, this message, this will take the returning message of this function, and this function will take our password. So this function will return error message or valid. So return valid, and this is our password. Check if password empty or not. If password equal empty, then you will return the same message, otherwise it will return valid. So here let's copy everything from this. We will check our password validation message. If it is not valid, then we will show an error message right after our this input box. This is the idea for password box. This is also will be our this message. Refresh, try to log in, write something here, write a valid email address. Yes, password validation is working. Okay, write something here. Now submitting. So we need to validate if our password length is correct or not. So if password, let's define our minimum and maximum length, bar maximum. What? Let's copy. Let's copy the variable from our final version. So minimum length is 8 and maximum length is 32. Now we will check if our password less than min length, or if our password greater than max length. Then we will show an error. The error message is okay, password length should be minimum 8 and maximum 32 characters. So let's save and refresh. Try to use the valid email address here, try to log in. This is empty, write something here. Okay, oops, it's we need to check the length. So this is our length, also password length. So refresh, email address, something 1 to 3. Yes, now it's showing that password length should be minimum 8 and maximum 32 character. Okay, just like the similar validation, we will check if our validation, if a password contain a special character, numerical character, letter. So for this checking, we will use a regular expression again. So let's copy the regular expression. I will provide you the source code, so don't worry. So if our this regular expression dot paste, it will take our password. If equal false, then we will return a message like this. Password should contain alphabetic, numeric and special characters. Okay, let's refresh and try to log in. Write something valid email, password length something larger than 8. Now it's showing that password should contain alphabet, numerical and special character. So that means our email validation and login validation is working properly. Let's try to write everything valid. Okay, I think now our form will submit. Yes, submitting. So login form validation working properly. Now we will validate our registration form. This time we will just call our function. For email validation, we will call our email validation function. For password validation, we will call our password validation. Extra, we will validate this name field, and we will check if our password and given confirm password match or not. So go to our HTML file, just like the previous one. Let's copy this. This is our registration form button. Return validate registration form. Let's create this function. Okay, so just like the login form, we need to catch our resi name, resi email. Let's validate email first. Bar resi email address document dot get element by id. This is the id dot value. So copy this variable, email validation message, copy this also. So raise the email address. So this email validation function will take this registration email address, then it will catch our error message. If it is not valid, then we will show an error message right after the email input box. So email input box ID is this ID. Okay, so let's check registration, try to registration. Okay, let's save our validation.js. Yes, it's working properly. So email validation is complete. We need to just call our function. So similarly for password, let's take our password, erase the password. Var is the password, document dot get element by id. Id is this dot value, and password validation message. After the email validation, this variable will take the message from is valid password. Password is our erase the password. Copy everything from here. This is our message, and if it is not valid, then we will show this message under the erase the password box. So refresh registration, something valid here. Try to log in. Oops, again we need to save our validation.js. Refresh, valid email address, try to registration. Yes, password validation is working. Something length also working. Oops, we need to remove the error message, so let's call this function at the top. Refresh registration, valid email address, password. Yes, it's working. So our password and email address validation is working. You also need the validation because this is also a password field. So let's erase the confirm password. Var document dot get element by id value. Var confirm password validation message. So let's copy everything here. This will contain, or this will take our registration confirm password, and if this not valid, then we will pass this message, and we need to show the error message under the confirm password field. Okay, so copy, refresh, save our validation.js, registration, valid email address. Okay, let's make it text, for example, so that we can see what actually we're typing in our password field. Email address, okay, pass 1 to 3 and a special character. Let's make it larger. Yes, it is now valid password, but it's not valid. I need to type something maybe not match with your confirm password and password. Okay, this time it's not showing any error. this is a valid password and this is a valid password, but those password not match. So we need to check if our password, resi password and resi confirm password match or not. So to do this is it's simple. We need to check if our resi confirm password not match equal our registration password, then we will show an error message like this. Copy this line, also this line, and message will be password not match. So message will be password not match, and this will show under our confirm password field. So this is the idea for confirm password field. This time let's refresh, save our validation.js, registration, a valid email address, password, yes. Now if I type something which is not match, now it's showing that password not match. But if I type exactly same and try to log registration, this time it's not showing any error message. Okay, so we also need to return the true at the very beginning, so that if not any error found, then it will submit our registration form. So return true here. Okay, and finally we need to validate our email full name. So full name ID is resi email var resi email document.getElement by ID. ID is this, value var name validation message. Oops, we have no function for this, so we can check simply check the length. If our length is maybe less than 3, then we will show a message that name should be minimum 3 character and maximum maybe 20 character, like this. So check if resi name dot length less than 3 or resi name dot length greater than 20, then we will show an error message. Copy this. This is our name field ID, and error message will be copied from our final version. Okay, name should be minimum 3 and maximum 20 character longs. So let's try to registration. Click yes, name should be minimum 3 and maximum 20 character long. You can also check if resi name equal empty, then we will show an error message like this. So, and this is our name field ID. This can be if, else if. Okay, refresh, try to registration without full name. Okay, now it's showing that please fill the field, write something here. Now it's showing that name length should be 3 or less than 20. So write everything properly. Password this and this, try to registration. Is it submitting or not? Okay, let's add action here. resi.php for testing purpose. Refresh, name, email, password, registration. Yes, it's submitting the form. So our registration form also validated successfully. Now we can change it to password also. Type something here. Yes, now it is not showing our password. So our login and registration field form validation is complete. This time we just need to validate our forgot password. So when we click our reset password button, where is this button? Forgot password form. This is the input box, forgot pass email. This is our submit button, submit password reset button. Okay, so on click we need to return validate forgot password form, semicolon. Okay, let's create this function under the registration validation function. Function name is validate forgot password. This function will not take anything. It will validate our email address. So id is forgot password email. Let's bar document.get element by id. id is this value. Let's copy our email validation message, then call our email validation block. Okay, this function will take our forgot password email validation message not valid, then we need to show our error right after this input box. Refresh also, forgot password, try to reset password without any email address. It's showing that please fill the field, something right here. Okay, so we also need to remove our previous error message. So let's call this function from the top section. Refresh, forgot password, click something here. Yes, previous message gone and it's showing new error message. Valid email. Yes, it's not showing. That means I think it's submitting our form. Forgot.php. So let's refresh, forgot password, valid email address, reset. Yes, it's submitting the form. That means our program worked properly. So our registration, login, forgot password validation complete. This time we will validate our reset password form. This is our reset password form. So let's okay, and this file already have validation.js. So let's create a function inside our validation.js for validating our this form. So here is the change button. Here on click, return validate reset password form. Let's create function under this function, and this time first of all we need to return remove all the error message, then copy everything from our password validation. password, confirm password, raise the password, paste it here. Also copy those two fields. We will change the ID. So this is our, okay, what is the ID? Forward pass email, and no, this is our form, new password and confirm new password. So new password, ID is new password, and this is confirm new password, confirm new password, confirm new password, var password validation message, and this variable will take the returning string from this function. So this function will take our new password. Also we will show the error message under the input box, this input box. So ID of this input box is new password. We will show this error message and confirm validation. So var confirm password validation message. So now this function will take our confirm password, confirm new password, and if it is not valid, then we will show this error message right after the confirm new password field. Also we will check if our new password and confirm new password not equal, then we will show error message right after the confirm new password field, password not match. Let's review again. I think it will work, but we need to return true. Similarly, for the forward password, we need to return true. Okay, let's refresh, try to change. Yes, new password field working, length also working, character numerical checking also working. So write a valid something. Yes, confirm password also working. Again, let's make this text field so that we can see what we actually writing. Text, this is our password. Yes, let's type 1 to 3, password not match, but this is valid password. Use same password, click on the change. Okay, I think now this time password reset form is submitting. So this is how you can validate your login form. So that's it. In this video I will share you the complete source code. So check the description and download the source code and apply your own logic.